Hey cousins, welcome back to my channel. I am Monie if you are new here. And if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. And today we're going to be getting into a reaction from our boy Luesta titled The Butterfly Effect That Started Hip Hop's Biggest Beef. And it's supposed to be going over how we got here today with Kendrick and Drake. Back in the day, there was a What Happened to That Boy feature with Birdman and Pharrell the Clips. Birdman didn't pay Pharrell for the beat, which has ensued a whole bunch of beefs with Lil Wayne, Pusha T, Drake, Kendrick Lamar. Now we're here today. So again, shout out to my guy Luesta. I'm gonna leave the link to his video in the description box below. So please go over there and show him some love. So let's get into it.
It only takes one wrong move to reap massive consequences, even when little decisions seem insignificant. This is the idea behind the butterfly effect. The theory states that something as simple as a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a massive earthquake somewhere else in the world. This is seen in the world of hip-hop too, where in seconds, the industry can turn on a dime and generate a sea of chaos from one small choice. All this to say, rap—
That's a fact, because control is low-key kind of why we're here today. And Drake taking offense to it while everybody else did not take offense to it. So you being in your feelings can cause you to get your ass kicked 10 years later.
Rap's greatest beef in the 21st century, that between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, can be traced back to nothing more than a little dispute, which we'll be talking about today. My name is Luesta, and this is how one tiny mistake started rap's most infamous beef. Let's set our sights—
Shout out to Luesta.
on the very beginning, 2002, when both artists were just rap-obsessed teens, and their feud started with a track from before they even began making music. Cash Money Records and the Neptunes' Star track dominated the early 2000s as some of the most exciting artist-owned labels in the—
Facts. I know all the way in Patterson, New Jersey, we was bumping Cash Money. Shine was like the Patterson, New Jersey anthem.
world. In the case of Birdman's New Orleans-based organization, they were selling millions of records thanks to artists like Juvenile, The Big Timers, and a young rapper by the name of Lil Wayne. Weezy was on the brink of breakthrough with his album 500 Degrees, and over time would become a major piece of the beef we'll dissect in this video. Meanwhile, Pharrell and Chad Hugo were transforming hip-hop at Star Trek, the home of a group known as Clips, which included Pusha T and Malice, with sounds that were in high demand. With two buzzing records—
I mean, what was a lunchroom table without you doing a grinding beat on a lunchroom table? Like, was it really lunch if you didn't do the grinding beat on a table?
labels dominating the young game, it was no surprise that Birdman and the Clips' collab on What Happened to That Boy in 2002 had the streets live.
Fire.
What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? And while that excitement lasted for fans, some financial shadiness surfaced when Stunna didn't pay Skateboard P for the iconic beat, sprouting a label beef that would last decades.
There was a non-payment at this point.
Birdman, stop being broke. Pay that man his fucking money, Birdman. Damn.
And if you look back, Pharrell never worked with a Cash Money artist after this moment. There's
rightfully so, because you don't pay your bills. I went out on a limb, did business without even being compensated up front. I'm never working with you ever again.
Never been a Drake Pharrell collab in any way, huh? I couldn't find one unless I missed one.
In light of the song's effect on today's events, fans wonder if Birdman could have prevented history by simply cutting P a check. Instead, a generational feud would tear a rift into rap as we know it today. Some have even compared the track's lore to the Gavrilo Princip Franz Ferdinand shooting, which is the murder that sparked the Second World War. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to the beef. After Birdman refused to pay up, it drove a wedge between Pharrell's camp and Cash Money, one that stretched far beyond music. Even when Pharrell moved into the fashion industry with his Billionaire Boys Club, Weezy was unable to get a care package and was even ignored when his request went directly to P.
I'm told behind the scenes, Lil Wayne used to ask for Billionaire Boys Club gear and was told no, and went and
pay me my money. Don't ask me for no free merch, and you ain't even pay me what you owe me.
wore it in a video anyway, and they was like, yo, we told you basically not to wear our stuff, and it was like an issue.
So Pharrell held on to the fact that he never got paid.
I'm told.
Which, by the way, he delivered a huge hit here, so you would understand why.
Yeah, I don't know if he got paid half in advance, didn't get the back end, you know how those scenarios work. But anyway, I wanted to point that out because it's important.
As petty as it may seem, fashion has always intertwined with hip-hop. And in this rivalry, it would play a major role in setting the scene for Drake to make poor decisions of his own. But before we get there, another instance of Lil Wayne inciting wardrobe warfare came after he wore a Bape hoodie on the cover of Vibe in 2006. You see, this is kind of important because Pharrell and the Clips were pioneers in the brand's popularization. So they took Wayne's move as disrespect and began sending subliminals, like this push of
Cause you biting. You biting. Get your own swag.
verse on Mic Check.
4 years later, admiring the shoes. Baby, you're late, we call you Tokyo Buffoon.
But the major escalation is found on the track Mr. Me Too, the lead single from Clips' second record, Hell Hath No Fury, that accused Wheezy and the Cash Money crew of jacking their style.
Wanna know the time, better clock us. Despite the style from the shoes to the watches.
Their digs were pretty direct, and it didn't take long for Wheezy to respond later that year in a Complex interview where he went off in a... It didn't take long for Wheezy to...
Hold up.
From the shoes to the watches.
Their digs were pretty direct, and
Them the chains that Drake bought and told me son he gonna melt them down. What a weirdo.
it didn't take long for Wheezy to respond later that year in a Complex interview where he went off in a fit of rage. He claimed that the Star Trek boys needed What Happened to That Boy to make a name for themselves and demanded that Bape wasn't cool until he wore it. Pretty bold stuff.
You're wildin'. You're wildin' twice. 2 times. You think you put the Star Trek, the NERD on, Lil Wayne? Stop it. And then you think you made that popular? Mm-mm. Who you got it from?
This public response cemented the disdain between the two rap crews, who'd forever be out.
The fact that this, I'm not gonna say it's all about clothes, but it transitioned into being about clothes is so hilarious. Because bro, all you had to do is pay them people. Birdman. Now we debating over who wore what first.
At odds. But Pusha's brother Malice claims to this day that Mr. Me Too was never meant to diss Wheezy.
I can tell you unequivocally, Mr. Me Too was not about Lil Wayne. At least to my knowledge, I've never heard that.
Okay, so this was just a rumor that was.
I'm talking about internally. Like we're not even that lame to, talk about somebody and not say your name. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely not. Before that, I thought everything was cool. Us and Baby, and we had went out to New Orleans and shot What Happened to That Boy. Then something happened. The cameraman messed up the footage. So we went back out because it was just on the cool. So it was. Never any problems with them.
This isn't the only alternative viewpoint to the situation either. And if you ask Cash Money's former artist Currency, the whole Bape ordeal was a complete misunderstanding on both sides.
I always say Wayne caught a bad bag with the Clips about that. Pusha T was all pissed at him for Bape, and it's like, I showed the homie Bape. He didn't take that from y'all. I was like, yo, he thought I had Converse on in the studio. And I was like, no, and showed him on the computer what they were. Then he proceeded to flex a Lil Wayne wallet and buy the whole website on me. But, it's all good.
Unfortunately, platforms like
So Currency is saying he's the one who put Wayne onto Bape. So Wayne, you didn't start it. You got it from Currency. Told you got it from somebody.
Cheese weren't around at the time for rappers to break these things down. So the rumor mill would instead cause the beef to reach a boiling point. And after that interview, Pusha and Malice stayed on
Was that a promo for Say Cheese?
Wheezy's neck in their own exchanges. For example, when they were asked about Wayne's self-proclamation as the greatest living rapper, they had some choice words. They accused Tunchi of kissing men, stealing swag, copying Jay-Z, dealing dressing like cult leader Jim Jones, and much more accusations that came with a lot of weight. And while the beef may have simmered after
The dressing like Jim Jones is hilarious because Harlem, Yeah, Harlem started that rock star lifestyle trend with the, the chain on the side with the skulls and bones and stuff like that.
After this exchange, it wouldn't be long before the flames erupted once again at the hand of the Neptunes fanboy who signed with Cash Money Records, but not before copying an autographed mic to pretend he was Pusha T in the mirror.
What a weirdo. You want to be everybody but yourself, bro.
I was looking for like autograph stuff from Clips because I was like a really, really big Clips fan. Some search words led me to this guy in Virginia that
So he been collecting stuff.
a microphone that Pusha T used during the show. It was like plastic, but it had his autograph on it. I used to pretend I was doing interviews on the red carpet and perform all the Clip songs in my basement with the mic. At the time, it meant the world to me.
Aubrey Graham signed to Young Money in 2009 after making waves in the underground with some critically acclaimed mixtapes, and was only a few steps away from becoming the household name that we all know today as Drake. While inking with the NOLA label, there was no clause indicating inheritance of his rivalries, but he still took it upon himself to stand on the label's business, which would become an error that he would never be able to rewrite. But until this L emerged from the shadows, the former Degrassi Child star experienced one of hip-hop's fastest booms into stardom, thanks to projects like So Far Gone, Take Care, and others. Meanwhile, Pusha T followed Clips into hiatus, and would even sign over with Kanye West at Good Music. Despite the new label, his bad blood with Cash Money hadn't gone anywhere. This fight fuels his return on the track Don't.
He said, because if we got beef, we gonna have beef forever. It ain't never going away.
Fuck with me, where he jacked the beat from Drake's Dreams Money Can Buy and took some clear shot at Cash Money's newest stars.
Rappers on they sophomores acting like they boss lords. Fame such a funny thing for sure. When start believing all them encores.
At the time, Drake seemed to take Pusha's advice and didn't reply. But when he didn't get a response, Pusha kept applying pressure to the Cash crew on 2012's Exodus.
You sign to one nigga, that sign to another nigga, that sign to three niggas. Now that's bad luck.
Here, Pusha takes a jab at Drake for only getting a small percentage of the money he was making. And if that line rings a bell, it's cause Kendrick borrowed it all these years later on the song Euphoria.
You assigned to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga.
Before he could defend himself, his protege stepped in on Twitter, keeping things simple and direct. Pusha T and anyone that loves him. And soon after, he followed this tweet up with
straight to the point. Straight to the point.
the song called Goalish, a diss track that
and Kendrick low-key said that in Euphoria.
Started with the same line, but Pusha T was not impressed with this attempt at his head, to say the least.
When you heard, what was your opinion of Wayne's response?
It was horrible. It was horrible. It was trash. It wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't good. Like, in all honesty, man, I haven't said anything about it because I didn't think it was like good enough to respond to.
It was from this moment on that fans
Pusha T, I don't know if y'all ever watched Pusha T interviews, but they are so funny. They are so funny.
Fans were absolutely itching for a head-to-head between the rising star Drake.
Because he be dead serious. The stuff that he say. He be dead serious and he means it.
And the Clips legend Pusha T, with everyone taking their bets on how it would play out. As we know now, we would eventually get what we were hoping for, but not just yet. A lot went into building up to the story of Adidon, one of the most infamous diss tracks in hip-hop history. First, Drake formally entered the battle with Tuscan Leather on 2013's Nothing Was the Same, where he stood up for Weezy and warned Pusha not to take things further.
I'm just as famous as my mentor, but that's still the boss, don't get sent for. Get hype on
you slept with your mentor's girl. Stop it.
Tracks and jump in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for.
Of course, this merited a response from Push.
Wait, what?
In front of my mentor, but that's still the boss, don't get sent for. Get hype on tracks and jump in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for.
Which you're literally doing. What you're literally doing. And you got your ass kicked twice because of it. You don't take none of your own advice, Drake. And that's just wild to me. Like, that's wild.
Of course, this merited a response from Push on the track Suicide, where he let Drake know that his issues with Wayne came first, but that he'd happily take on anyone associated with the label.
I can't see the seams that you mirror in your idol, but a pawn's only purpose is completely suicide.
It seemed like Pusha would have the last laugh here as the beef went cold until 2016, when a few more lines from the Clips member
Did he lie? Did he lie? He didn't lie.
Dropped only a couple months after Drake's heated beef with Meek Mill. That exchange brought Drake's ghostwriting allegations to light, and Push decided to give his thoughts on rappers who don't craft their own rhymes on HD TV Freestyle.
It's too far gone when the realest ain't real. I walk amongst the clouds so your ceilings ain't real. These call it duty cause they feelings ain't real.
Feeling hot after washing Meek, it didn't take long for Drake to respond with 2 birds, 1 stone, which featured his most direct hits at Pusha yet. He called T a fake gangster who lied about drug dealing, and called him the middleman in this entire situation. Honestly, it seems like Drake is the true middleman here, but we'll let that slide. At this point, one thing was for certain.
Everybody sees it but Drake, apparently.
Ounce of that Pusha T fanboy in Drake had vanished, and a 14-year-old feud between Cash Money and Star Trek had boiled to this exact moment. Drake and Pusha were on a collision course, which would not only unfold a major revelation, but played an instrumental role to Kendrick's master plan of taking down BBL Drizzy. If only Bird paid up all those years.
Loisa, that's petty. That's petty. Calling that man BBL Drizzy.
Years ago. The end game of the Pusha T and Drake beef.
What does that say?
Drizzy. If only Bird paid up all those years ago. The end game of the Pusha T and Drake beef all started on Pusha's Ye-produced track, Infrared, where he brought back the ghostwriting allegations with the simple line, "It was written from Nas, but it came from Quentin." That same day, Drake pulled up Meet the Grams with his Duppy freestyle, where he revealed that Kanye had employed his services for ghostwriting during the Wyoming album stretch, saying, "Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me." What most people don't know is that this included Pusha's own Daytona album, but we'll never know if Drake actually wrote for that one. Regardless,
you crazy as hell if you think Pusha T would let Drake write for Daytona, especially the way that you ain't do your due diligence, because Pusha T is on record in an interview. I forgot what interview it was, but Pusha T is on record saying he couldn't even be in Wyoming when Drake was there. They made him leave because he knew it was up. So, yeah, no.
He had plenty of words for Push.
Must have had your infrared wrong, now your head in a beam. Y'all let it spit an image of whatever jealousy breeds. Don't push me when I'm in album mode. Somebody piss Drake off while he's in album mode. Pusha T, did you see this coming? Did you plan for this?
The track was lit.
The last time we saw you pissed off in album mode was Control, and you were complaining. Like you didn't want to fight, you just wanted to complain.
With typical rap beef scolds, but Drizzy may have crossed the line where he brought family into the mix. Upon mention of
every time, stop playing with people's wives because you seated up a whore and you got family issues. Stop mentioning people's wives, Drake. I don't want to see you do that ever again.
Of Push's fiance, Virginia Williams, T was free to get the gloves off. Somehow, Drake never learned his lesson here. And as we've seen in his beef with Kendrick, when you bring family into the mix, prepare for things to get messy. But we all know what happened next. The story of Adidon drops, with Pusha not only outing Drake's past of wearing blackface while discussing his biracial identity, but also revealing that Drake had a son that he hadn't yet made public.
Let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Ooh.
What the? This nigga called Drake a deadbeat. And
Shaq ain't had no hair. He got long hair now.
the same minute I found out he had a baby.
To say that this line did critical damage would be an understatement. Not only did it sink Drake's plan to unveil his son as part of an Adidas campaign, it effectively ended his partnership with them. The worst blow would ultimately be that the world now saw him as a terrible father. You would think unveiling your kid for a brand deal would have the same effect though. Lose-lose situation for real.
Who rolls out that child with a sweatsuit? Like, get out of here. What are you doing?
I didn't understand that line.
Yeah,
I understand the sweatsuit with the Adidas.
Explain that Adidas situation.
See, the Adidas situation is this.
The Breakfast Club always in the middle of some shit. It's always them. The Ray J and Fab thing, right in the middle of it.
The child, allegedly, his new line on Adidas is called Adidon, which is named after Adonis, his son. But we couldn't know about your child until you start selling sweatsuits and sneakers.
Fans were quick to point out how vicious this comeback was all over the internet, and he still never lived this one down, honestly. Pusha T continued to break down his process and methods of the diss in several interviews, calling Drizzy out for his broken father-son relationship, his silence on black issues, and much, much more.
Now I gotta dig deeper into who the person is. Now I gotta dig in and see, what are y'all like? What's your family like? Oh, your dad left you at 5. Oh, I get that. He never walked you to the bus stop. You're mad about this. You parade your dad around in these weird suits.
Monkey suit Dennis D parade him. A Steve Harvey suit nigga made him.
Parade him. It's clown-like. I get clown feelings from that. You are silent in all black issues. I don't hear about anything. You have all the platform in the world. You was
to this day. To this day.
So passionate back then? No, you weren't.
Pusha was also the first to point out the holes in Drake's circle. Many people assumed Kanye was the whistleblower on Adonis, but Pusha claims it was none other than Drake's right-hand man
40.
and producer 40 Shabib.
40 is sleeping with a woman. He talks to her daily, 5-6 hours a day. Ultimately, speaks about how he's disgruntled about certain things. With that also came the fact that Drake has a child. With that also came the trip that everybody took to go see the child and bring them gifts and all of this information. She divulged this information.
This would ultimately be the model of investigation
And Joe's so funny. This girl is a great person.
That Kendrick Lamar would also emulate in 2024, even taking it a bit further by anticipating Drake's moves based on past beefs. And people still can't believe that history has repeated itself, hinting towards Kendrick's claims that someone in his camp was working for him. The point is, the story of Adidon was a blow from which Drake couldn't recover. He had no choice but to concede to this L he had taken.
I tip my hat to the chess move. I mean, it was a genius play in the game of chess, and definitely, warranted my first loss in the competitive sport of rapping. By choice, obviously, because I bowed out after realizing, like, the
punk ass. Why you bow out? Why are you bowing out? The war general bowed out. Why would you bow out?
Gap between us allowed him to drop a bomb on the world that really became that was all anyone cared about.
Like what we saw on The Heart Part 6. He tried to move on and even claimed Jay Prince stopped him from dropping another disc because it was
when it get too ugly, he don't want to play no more. He want to take his ball and he want to leave the court and he want to go home. The war general is not war generaling. What's the truth?
Supposedly going too far.
What I think is where they think that you went too far.
I don't care.
I
don't care. Oh. There is no too far. I don't play like that. That's why you don't play with me. Right. There is no too far.
Right.
It's not.
That's the thing. Like, you keep mentioning these people's wives and these people's family, but when they mention yours, you sad and you a victim. You can't punch somebody in the face and think they're not gonna punch the shit out of you back.
Forever.
Is there any
Leave
time?
me alone. Leave me be, because there's no too far.
Right.
That's how it goes.
You felt like you went too far?
Who, me? There's no too far.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Promise you. And anybody who ever told me that I went too far, I never spoke to him again.
However, it hasn't stopped him from throwing subliminals. Speaking of which, Pusha still relishes these subs to this day, saying that it lets him know how deeply he hurt Drake in their beef. It would be a while before Kendrick would utilize all of this weaponry laid out by Pusha, as it wasn't quite his churn. Despite working together on Nostalgia, the two weren't all that close. However, it was his ties to another Star Trek boy that would fuel Kendrick's desire to take down Drake once and for all. Although he still had no love for Cash Money, Pharrell always insisted he wasn't in favor of what happened between Pusha and Drake.
Pusha didn't tell me because he knows I would have, stood in front of him as much as I could. But he's a different kind of person. He's a Taurus. You know what I'm saying? And when you feel like a line is crossed and you take off.
Facts. Drake allowed Jay Prince allegedly to stop this. No, when it's war, bro. You expose my children. You're my child. I gotta put pen to paper. Like, no one's gonna sit me down during wartime. Can't no one get me off of your ass. I'm sorry. And they were able to do that to Drake because he's soft.
the gloves, that's just where your brain is at. You know what I'm saying?
Touching on the roots of their beef with the what happened to that boy, Pharrell said he wished none of that would have happened because he would have liked to have seen them all work together. He even dropped a shocker by leaking the respect that Pusha has for Drake behind the curtains.
It still breaks my heart to this day because I would have loved to have heard those guys on a song together or heard a joint project together. I would have loved to have seen that. By the way, Pusha says Drake got bars. When Drake makes something that's amazing, we talk about it all the time. When something's up, it's amazing.
Known as one of the most level-headed hip-hop personnel, Pharrell seemed eager to keep the peace, but he'd later learned that he should have been in Pusha's corner after all. In 2022, it was revealed that Drake had copped some of Pharrell's most iconic chains, even rocking them in music videos in what seemed like a respectful homage. But
a costume. Ain't no homage. That shit is a costume for him. Kim Kardashian does the same thing. When she bought that Marilyn Monroe dress and wore it to the Met Gala like a weirdo and then broke all of the beads on it because she was too big for it. Like, very weird behavior. Like, the obsession with people or dead people shit is so weird. And Kim and Drake are one of the same in that.
But all of that was thrown out the window the following year when he admitted to destroying the legendary pieces on Travis Scott's Meltdown.
I melt down the chains that I bought from your boss. Give a fuck about all of that heritage.
Drake even took shots at his new position.
Okay, you pay for it.
As the creative head at Louis Vuitton, stating his refusal to wear the
which we all know you lied because you ended up showing it in the Family Matters video. So you're a habitual liar.
Brand after Virgil's passing, letting off what seemed like an unprovoked attack at Pharrell. It seemed like Drake's issues came with Pusha T appearing in Pharrell's first Louis show. In taking shots at Pharrell, Drake dissed a real legend and pioneer in the
So why you didn't diss Jay-Z? Jay-Z was up there too.
game. Because of P's status, it was a move that even Drake fans didn't appreciate. But more devastatingly, he gave Kendrick Lamar even more reason to start the problem that he'd been itching to for years now. Because if you don't know, Skateboard P has been a mentor to K-Dot since the Section 80 days.
All that jazz that y'all have in your music, that's the man. Do not lose. Who's the producers?
From you, that mean a lot, man.
A working relationship that has led to tracks like Good Kid, Mr. Morale, and All Right. Pharrell has always been quick to give K-Dot his flowers.
Kendrick is one of the greatest writers of our time. And he's a great writer because he knows how to be very disciplined with a subject matter. He knows that stickiness is important. And he knows that it has to feel great.
It's unclear if Drake's verse on Meltdown was the last straw, or simply one of the many factors gradually fueling his disdain for the Six God. But he directly references the Pharrell dissing on Euphoria.
I don't like you popping that for real. For him, I inherit the beef. Yeah, f all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T.
Not gonna lie, that line was kind of hard. And he's not only referencing two legends who both had bad blood with Cash Money over the what happened to that boy, but straight up says that he's inheriting the beef. This is all the proof we need to confirm that this beef is the domino effect of that small mistake. A buildup of multiple decades worth of turmoil, diss tracks, and bad blood. Like Pusha and Wayne all those years ago, the same sides continued to send new soldiers into the battle, all over a financial wronging. Only the ammunition has evolved from fashion to federal crimes. Above all, this situation just goes on to show that much of what happens in rap can be traced back and connected to the genre's earliest days. Now, we just have to wait and see what comes next.
All right, cousins. So that was the butterfly effect that started one of the most historic hip-hop beefs in rap history by my guy Loesta. I will leave the link below in the comment section so you go over there and show his channel some love. A great video, great details. Basically, Drake should have minded his fucking business, right? We all can agree to that. Drake should have minded his business because you not minding your business got you where we are today. Got you where we were a couple years ago when Pusha T exposed you. Just learn to mind your business. Stop sticking your chest out for other people because, as we see, none of those people are backing you up and defending you while you're getting slaughtered all over the internet. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Later.